Hi, it's Jo here from Cotton and Fluff. Thank you so much for coming back to watch another one of my YouTube videos. This is all about me and starting my sewing journey with dressmaking. So in my last video, I said I was really excited about going to the Stitch Festival, and I was. And I got there. I went there on my own, on the train, few trains, few tubes. Not too scary moments, but anyway, I did it. I was so pleased I made the effort and went. The show was amazing. It was just a wash with a palette of colours from all the fabrics, the textures, the people, everything. It was a lovely, lovely day. When I arrived there, I popped up to see Paige Joanna, who was there with her brown podkins doing the dolls. I will put a link down below. So I was there to give her a hand if she needed it, so she could pop to the loo, have a break, or if there was just too many people who needed help all at once. So that was lovely to see her and all of her products. So then I went back downstairs and I had a look at the rest of the show, all the stands with all the fabrics and all the haberdashery and the lace. It was lovely. As I was on my own. I didn't have anyone to carry anything, so I was very limited, and I didn't want to spend lots of money. But what I wanted to do was stop by the Tilly and Buttons stand. So I popped along, and it was lovely. It was lovely to see all of the patterns there, see Tilly herself as well, and they were there with the patterns, talking to people, and it was lovely to see them just chatting to everybody in such a popular stand. They were doing an offer on the day where you could buy 2 patterns at a slightly cheaper rate. So I thought, well, it'd be rude not to. I know I wanted to get the Sonny Jacket, and she had some of those there, so I could pick up that pattern. And I took a while to decide what my next pattern would be. I looked at a few, but anyway, I settled on the Marnie blouse, as I've seen it made up so many times, so many different ways, from different sewists across Instagram, Pinterest. I just had to pick it up. So that was my 2, the Sonny Jacket and the Marnie blouse. When I was on my way home on the train, I was thinking what I was going to do first. Was it going to be the blouse or the jacket? Well, the jacket won. And I knew the fabric that I could use. I had some fabric that I'd had in my stash for a while, and I was unsure what to use it with because it was very bright, very colourful, heavyweight cotton. So that's what I did. I pulled that out, cut all my pieces out of the pattern. With the patterns, obviously, if you're buying a paper pattern, you could trace off your size onto some paper, so that you can just reuse your pattern if you want to make it in different sizes for other people. But this was just for me. I just cut out my size. I wasn't sure to go for a 16 or a 14. I've gone for a 16, might be able to do a 14, but anyway, I went for the 16. And it's about right, really. I really enjoyed it. I found the whole process of putting this together so much fun. You learn about so much. I learned about mock felled seams, which I've never heard of before. Didn't have much about it in the instruction booklet, but you can, of course, we can just pop along to YouTube now, which is great. Popped along there, had a look, and I could see exactly what I was doing. So I came back to the pattern, and it seemed to work out pretty well. So the mocked felled seams were here. This is like where it's almost like, do you remember with a denim jacket you've got like the double stitching? It's just like that to encase the seam, and it just gives it a really nice finish. So that was fantastic. And the ruffles, quite a lot of ruffles on this because it goes all the way around the back too. So I was thinking about, I wanted to put the ruffles on definitely, but I was slightly worried about using the same fabric for the ruffles, because as I was going to be gathering it up, it was going to make the fabric really thick on the collar to sew through. And because I'd taken my time with everything else, I didn't want it to be the ruffles that muck everything up, and I have to go back, and then I'm panicking, have I got enough fabric? So I just picked I've got some plain pink poly cotton in my stash, so I pulled that out and I've used that, and I'm quite pleased because the colour goes well, and the ruffles went well as well. Talking of ruffles, I don't know about you, but when I've done gathering of ruffles using 2 or 3 rows of parallel stitching, I find that my ends get in a bit of a tangle, and then I get a little bit lost, or I pull them to start ruffling, and then the top threads get middled up with the bottom threads, and I can't work out which is which. So what I do to help me, this may not help you, and you might think, well, no, but I do it with different colours, so completely different cotton colours to your fabric, so they show up. For example, I might use red on the top and then put some navy blue in the bobbin, so when I do my parallel stitching and I've finished it before the ruffles, I can see instantly which is which. If it still gets in a tangle, I will separate them, and I'll do a little knot. I'll put a picture up. I'll do a little knot in the end of the threads to keep them together, so that those bundles of stitches of thread isn't going to get muddled up with the stitches underneath, and it just saves you getting in a muck and fuddle. It really does. It did help me. So that's just one little tip if you want to use it, that is. So yes, so I used that, and the ruffles, there are some errors which I can see when you're sewing the ruffles in. Obviously here, as you can see, this is a mistake or an area of learning. I didn't do it quite right. It's obviously just tucked in too much, so I have to be much more careful and much more accurate and take it slower when I'm sewing in the actual ruffle to the collar. But hey, I know, it's a lesson I've learned. Do it differently next time. So, but because of the colours in the actual fabric, it doesn't show up mega badly. With the pockets, I didn't do a buttonhole on the actual pocket itself. I just popped a button on the top, but you don't have to do pockets if you don't want to. It's another option. Sleeves were easy. There weren't any any buttons to go on there or anything, so it was just basically to hem them and and turn them up and make them look nice and neat. So they were okay. The next thing that I hadn't really done before in a row was the buttonholes, lining them up. But luckily on the pattern there are the markings there for you to know where to put your buttonholes. So I popped on my buttonhole foot on my sewing machine. If you haven't used it, if you've got a sewing machine and you've got the foot, it isn't as bad as it looks. It's not as tricky as it looks, because when I first saw it, I couldn't understand it. Go back into your book, have a quick look, and it's worth checking everything and making sure you know how it works, because sometimes I practiced a lot on some cheap fabric just to see how the buttonholes work. So I did a few and I thought, oh no, that's going upwards, but I practiced. I did a bit of a mark on a piece of fabric and followed the line, and I got the right measurement by popping the button in the back of the foot. I'm probably waffling, and you know this bit already, but it was a big thing for me. So anyway, the buttons are all on now. There are a few that don't line up, but I know. So I just used some pink and blue wooden buttons on that, but I might not even have it done up anyway, so you won't really notice. But I just wanted to let you know on that. So yeah, so that was the Sonny jacket, and it really is a Sonny jacket. And then the Marnie blouse. With the Marnie blouse, I wanted to make it nice and flowy, romantic, English country gardenish. So I had some pretty blue floral fabric, which is what I've used here, and it's turned out okay. Because you have got quite a lot of ruffles, you've got the ruffles around the neck, and then you've got the ruffles that are coming on the sleeves, and the ruffles across the bodice. You will get to practice your ruffles, which is excellent, because you're doing the same thing again and again and again. I love how the sleeves work. So you've got your puff and then it goes straight. So I love that look. and I'm not going to be afraid to use that style of sleeves on other projects. So yeah, so I am pleased with the Marnie blouse. I will get some pictures sorted with that, but I'm going to do some in some other fabric. And on the back as well, at the top you've got your button, and you learn how to do the little strap that loops over your button, and there is actually a pattern piece for that as well. So everything is included in your pattern. So if you haven't got it, maybe think about buying the blouse, because you've got so many different options with it. You will be able to change the look again and again and again. So definitely have a look at the Marnie blouse. The other pattern, I picked up one more pattern when I was at the Stitch Festival. I popped and saw the So Different stand, having a look around at what they had there, and I did chat to the lady and ask her what she was wearing, and it was like almost like a tunic artist type, and it had a high collar, longish sleeves, and it was tunic length. And I asked her how hard and tricky that was going to be. She said it was really like for a sort of a confident beginner. She asked what I could and couldn't do. She said, no, you should be okay. So I haven't attempted that pattern yet. I need to really have a look through the book and then sit and cut out my pattern. And then I will give it a go. And also I need to find the right fabric. She had it in a lovely linen, and it looked gorgeous. She had, because obviously with the panels you can do different colour fabrics as well, so that makes it a little bit more fun. So yeah, so that's possibly the next one. I'll do some more Marnie and then have a look at the artist address. I'll pop a link in here as well, and also down in the bottom I'll put a link to everything that we've spoken about today. I'll also pop a link to something else, which is my other favourite pastime, is making my bunnies. So this is where the name Cotton and Fluff really came from. So this is Brianna Bunny, and this is how it all started. Using the 7 paper patterns, I started making some animals just in my spare time, just for the children, the grandchildren. I really enjoyed it and I wanted to take it further. But if I wanted to be able to sell my bunnies and my other animals, I had to make sure they were UKCA tested. So this is a process where every component of the animal is tested to ensure that it complies and it's safe. Looking at things like the chemicals that are within the fabrics, looking at whether with the flammability test, checking how fast they burn. That was a sad day, because one of the testing processes is one of the dolls has to be torched, basically, so a flame is held at a certain height near the bottom, and then we have to measure how quickly the flame travels. But I've actually using a fabric here that is compliant, and I have certificates to demonstrate that. So it's the Tilda range of fabrics. So I use the Tilda doll skin for the animals' bodies, and then any of the other patterned Tilda fabrics for the clothes. So this is just some bloomers that Brianna's got on, and I've also have Margot, who she's popped out, so she's been off shopping again, so it's just Brianna today, but I have got some other little friends to pop along and show you. So that's Brianna. Margot is our cat, but I will put some pictures of Margot. But I thought it would be nice to do a little friend for Brianna. This is Bramble, and she's a very little bunny. She's about 8 inches in height, but she copies her mum or her sister or whoever. Dungarees, bloomers. She's even got a little pocket here as well, and it just simply ties around the back. There's a bit of elastic in there. And I'm going to be making some dresses, so I'm going to be making, I think, a few more of these, but I do actually sell my bunnies and my other animals. So if you wanted to have a look at them, if you go onto my Folksy page, which is my little shop, you will see some links down below to that. I am building up. They take a long time to make, because there are some hand sewing components, some machine sewing, and the cutting out. And also I want to take my time with them, from building them, doing their bodies, to embroidering their faces. I just take that extra time, and they're lovely for home decor pieces. One went off to her new home recently, and she was going off to a baby girl, and she was going to sit in the nursery. So that was beautiful to box her up, and she was heading off to her new home. But anyway, I just wanted to pop on and just show you Bramble. I thought that was really important, and I just think she's super cute. Super cute little bunny. So I think that is it. So just a very quick and short video. If you hear barking, it's because I've got the studio door open and the dogs are in and out because it's lovely. I've got one asleep. I've got Missy thinking about having a bark. Missy, do you want to come and say hello? No, she doesn't. She's going to just look out the window and chill in the sunshine. So I hope it's sunny and lovely wherever you are. Wanted to say, have a lovely, lovely weekend. Enjoy the glorious weather, and I will see you soon. Thank you. Bye.